to Trust Your Glitter. It is Christy. We have made it to a new year, a new you, a new vibe. This episode is coming out on December 31st. I'm recording this Saturday, December 30th. I can actually look at what's called the horary chart, which is basically the chart of the moment. Right now, I'm recording this and the moon is in Leo. I just feel when I need to hit record, and so I want to feel the energy. Right now, Jupiter's on the ascendant as we speak on this podcast, and the sun is in the 9th house with the midheaven nicely ahead of the sun, or actually after the sun at 22 degrees. Capricorn, Pluto's in that 10th house. I like the horary for our final / New Year's podcast, Astrology, ASMR style, because you're just going to hear background noise. I'll probably drink a lot of tea. You're going to hear my dog walking around. Maybe he'll probably lick his crotch. Like, these are all the things, real life, real podcasts, real sounds. And what a year. What a year we have had. I need to acknowledge the astrology recap of 2023. Can we just acknowledge 2023? Here we go. So I have a whole thing of notes here for this episode. And I just want to acknowledge that 2023 brought us a lot in astrology. Brought us a lot of synchronistic moments. Now, synchronicity can also be these challenges that we're all working through. But when I'm looking back at the astrology of 2023, the recap is, I want to just have some nods. And I'm not going to talk about all the transits and aspects and all the things, but let's give a nod to Saturn in Pisces that started on the 7th of March. Let's give a nod to that, because we have been working with Saturn in Pisces through pretty much most of 2023, and Saturn being career and life purpose and life path is a huge honor, spiritual honor to have in the sign of Pisces. Now, we've already had, Neptune in Pisces. We've already had sort of this deep spiritual dissolving, but when any planets in Pisces, there's this merging. Well, let's sink in, let's melt into one another. So with Saturn being like the strictest planet in the zodiac, the father of the zodiac, in the sign of like, what is the higher purpose, higher lesson? We've actually been asking these questions this year, like, what does this all mean? Those are some big fundamental questions that presented themselves in many ways during the year of 2023. So look at your chart and see where Saturn was transiting in the sign of Pisces. Look at your Pisces house, Pisces planets, Virgo planets, Gemini planets, houses, Sagittarian planets, houses, because that is where these big questions of like, oh my God, how are we all connected? We're just all vibing together type things are presenting themselves. But can we also shout out the month of March in 2023 was one of the biggest pinnacle months. I will say, astrological New Year's wise, absolutely always a pinnacle month of March when we enter the astrological New Year. But this particular one was just, we entered the Aries season, we entered with, fire blazing. We had a total solar eclipse. Oh, hold on. I'm ahead of myself like an Aries. I think we had a full moon. It was like a blue moon. Again, ahead of myself. Hold on. I'm excited to record this episode. I'm a double fire sign. Let me simmer down. The month of March. I'm not even going to cut that out. You can laugh at me all you want. The month of March, we had Pluto enter the sign of Aquarius on the 23rd of March. We had the equinox happen just a couple days prior, and it was like, holy cow, we are out here, fire blazing, we're out here doing the things. And here's the thing. Pluto has not officially solidly moved into the sign of Aquarius. Pluto will enter and re-enter Aquarius again at the end of January 20th, 2024, until September 1st of 2024, and then makes Pluto's way back into Capricorn and will find Aquarius full-time starting November 19th of 2024. So we haven't gotten out of the woods with Pluto and Capricorn, and Pluto has been going back, has been transiting Capricorn since 2008, all things economic recessions, all the wars that we've been through, the great conjunctions. Like, Pluto and Capricorn had a lot of things to transform in society. Bureaucratic systems, political, everything related to structure that we thought was solid. Pluto and Capricorn was like, you think? Still got more on the way at the final degrees of Capricorn. But we saw a preview March 23rd through June of 2023. So March through June was a really big time of being like, hey, just to let you know, this is where we're going as a collective. We have a lot of guidance and wisdom here. We also have metaphysics that's presenting itself. There's things related to AI tech. There's things related to, what humanity is going to be facing, because, once Pluto is in Aquarius full time, we're not going to see that shift out of Aquarius until March 8th of 2043. And then from there, we're going to have the dance between Pluto and Aquarius and Pluto and Pisces. So we've got a big homework assignment for humanity, and we've been in the throes of it. We've been in it. And Pluto wanted to take us and wants to take us through different types of trenches. So we're being shown these very big shifts in March. And do I really want to report? I'm not going to report exact dates of all of this. I just want to shout out a whole bunch of things. I want to also shout out the fact that Jupiter entered Taurus on the 16th of May. And Jupiter in Taurus is going to be involved in a conjunction with Uranus. Now, I'll talk about this later on, because we're not going to be facing this for a couple of months. But just note that Jupiter, the spiritual expander of the zodiac, gave us, or is giving us, this shift in financial value systems, feminism, because Taurus is Venus ruled. And I will say also shout out Venus in 2023, because we also had a big Venus retrograde that pretty much was our summertime or our wintertime, depending on where you live. But we also experienced Venus in the underworld this year. And Venus retrograde this year was in the sign of Leo and took us through the summer season, which should have been like this flowery summer of love, into the fall, literally asking us to dig deep into our heart and to dig deep into what we creatively value. This could also mean, like, for a lot of people, breakups, especially divorces. Lots of divorces this year. So it's interesting, like, there is also a Venus healing that happened. And with Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, with Venus transiting through the sign of Leo, we also met with squares between, Venusian energy in Leo, and then we had Jupiterian and Uranian energy as Uranus is in Taurus. Squares with this, yes, there's chaos here, but how do you find your sovereignty again? How do you lean into your personal power? How do you say, this is my voice, this is my life, this is not somebody else's stomping ground? And it's interesting because this dynamic that we faced in 2023 with Venus in a fixed sign of Leo, Taurus is also a fixed sign. It's like that stubborn bull with just its feet down, ready to charge. And then the lion being like, I'm not getting out of here. I am on my hill overlooking my pride. And so there's a lot of people that could have faced their egos, or you had to confront a lot of relationship dynamics. And I do know a lot of people that are recognizing old patterns in relationships and how it all links to how many of us were raised. So that could also have been something you've had to confront in 2023. And then I also want to recap as I move my entire page, because I wanted to find some other astrology transits. Let me get back to the original. I want to give exact dates for these guys, so hold on. For those listening, we're putting on the hold music. Here we go. So I also want to acknowledge the nodes and the lunar eclipses of 2023. So our lunar eclipse schedule, April 20th, we had 29 degrees Aries solar eclipse. We also had 2 new moons, which I was trying to say in the beginning, in the sign of Aries. So we opened up the astrological new year with a new moon, and we ended the Aries season with a 29 degrees total solar eclipse. I think it's very poignant, very poetic. And this solar eclipse is giving us a bit of a preview of what's to come. Now, the preview is where are you taking direction in your life? Where are you taking authority beyond, overt authority? It's more, how are you taking authority in your life? How are you stepping up for yourself? How are you walking away from the societal norms? How are you a trailblazer? So this is a 2-year assignment as of 2023. We also had a lunar eclipse May 5th at 14 degrees Scorpio. Big releases and let goes. It could have been a time that a lot of people were facing and confronting depression or something depressing, losses, deaths, these types of things. I also want to acknowledge that the North and South Node officially moved between the Aries-Libra polarity around July 17th, 18th of this year. So when that North Node shifted from the Taurus North Node, South Node Scorpio to the North Node Aries, South Node Libra, that changed up a lot of what we're doing on a karmic scale. The Wheel of Fortune, the guidance of the Wheel of Fortune went from, hey, we have to release and purge a lot of generational trauma, into, hey, we have to release and purge a lot of codependent behaviors and one-on-one relationships. Who are we with on a daily basis? How are we meeting all of our relationship dynamics on a face-to-face basis? I want to also acknowledge the solar eclipse, October 14th at 21 degrees Libra. That is a South Node eclipse, so it's letting go. This is when a lot of documents could be signed to solidify divorces, or a divorce doesn't just have to be with a spouse. A divorce can be with whatever you're divorcing in your life. It could even be an agreement that you made to yourself around October the 14th. And then the most recent one, a lot of people might remember, October 28th, we had a 5-degree Taurus lunar eclipse. That was emotional and powerful. That was taking a power stance in your life. And I have a card out, Dakshina Kali, from the Kali Oracle deck, and here is a message. She appears fierce, and yet she is benign. Her oracle brings the message that a situation which may frighten or intimidate you is well within your capacity to handle. No matter how dramatic or intense a situation may appear to be at this time, it shall eventually be little more than a passing memory and not have a negative bearing upon your future. So think about October 28th. The veils were super thin, a lot of Halloween vibes, Dia de los Muertos vibes. All this energy is out on the table, and what you're being asked is to let go of the intensity that was trying to try you at the time of your life. So I just want to acknowledge all of these transits of 2023. Obviously, there's a lot more, many aspects. We had retrogrades, all this stuff, but I really just want to acknowledge that these are the ones that I feel I wanted to recap for this year of, and if I said 24, I mean 2023. Hello. This is officially the astrology of the first week of 2024, January 1st through 7th. So I want to say welcome to a new year. It does not have to mean that you meet all of your New Year's goals in the first week of the year. I know that I'm somebody who's super guilty of just going hard for the first month of the year and burning myself out. So I want to kind of look at the astrology and say it's okay to pace yourself, especially for the first few months of the year, because the first week is not about going hard and listening to all those ads that are like, sign up for this boxing gym and you can, like, that's great. But I'll tell you, on the astrology side, it is about taking it one step at a time. So just note this, because the first week is not about running at full speed. It is about one step, one day, allowance of energy output. And especially, I love the first day of the year, January 1st. Mercury does go direct, which can bring on anxiety, because Mercury's at 22 degrees Sagittarius in a fire sign. So it is like, and we're off, right? That is okay. However, Venus has entered Sagittarius the last week of the year of 2023. And so Venus is now going to be square to Saturn on the first day of the year. This is slowing us down. This is saying, actually, we need to be a pace setter. And our pace setting that we start out the year with will build momentum over the next 3 months. So if you start out in rest mode, that is probably my biggest piece of advice looking at this astrology. Start out with planned action to rest, planned action to take your damn time. So I also want to note that on January 3rd, we have a last quarter moon at 13 degrees Libra. That's at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The same day, Venus will be quincunx to Jupiter. So Venus is very aspected this week. And this is an example. Venus is very aspected this week. And when I record this podcast, my goal is always to do one take and to not make mistakes. And this is exactly the example. Like, if I lose my voice, if I, say something backwards because I'm thinking too fast, like, these are things that just go at a slow pace if you can. So here's an example, me just trying to record this damn podcast and not make a mistake. That's the kind of stuff, like, take your time and just know nothing has to be perfect all the time. So with the January 3rd last quarter moon, the questions that pose themselves are things like, let's reflect back to the fact that there was a full moon on the 26th of December in the sign of Cancer. In between the full moon in Cancer and the new moon in Capricorn, this last quarter moon in Libra is saying, okay, let's balance the scales here. What challenges did you have pose to you with home, family, self-nurturing? Like, what was going on here, and what needs to be recalibrated, evened out, or just a recognition that the past is the past and you have to go forward. And with this last quarter moon, which is the waning moon, because we're going to be heading towards the new moon, before the balsamic phase, which is going to happen this week. And balsamic phase, like, the closer we get to the dark moon, meaning like the new moon, the more we're asked every month to slow down and to recognize our own body, our own energy. So when you are in recalibration mode, and yes, the holidays are draining as fuck for a lot of people, especially if you've been spending time around a lot of family, this is just saying, hey, you got shown something really big during the holiday season regarding the past, regarding what you felt nostalgia for, and regarding the fact that you have to stomp forward with the North Node in Aries. And on the same day with Venus in Sagittarius, quincunx to Jupiter, what that translates to is there is tension between our heart space and wanting to go forward quickly, wanting to experience the world quickly, wanting to obtain knowledge quickly, Venus and Sagittarius, and having to take our damn time and having to wait, Jupiter in Taurus. So the 3rd is a day of this week to circle and say, you know what? I might not have all of the ducks that I need in a row right now. And I think it's important because directly the next day on the 4th, Mars enters Capricorn. And I just put a note next to it, thank you, because that's my Mars return. A Mars return for us happens about every 3 years. And so Mars basically hitting our natal Mars. And so I have, like, on the day Mars enters Capricorn, it's going over my Mars. And I'm just like, thank you. Because I love Mars and Capricorn. I think Mars and Capricorn is so nice. It's going to technically by sign be trine to Jupiter. There will be nice trines on the way. But Mars and Capricorn is the hard worker, is saying, like, yes, our output does show some, like, what we've worked hard on shows movement, shows accomplishment. It's not immediate. Mars and Capricorn understands that accomplishment takes time, you know. And I was thinking, this is personal. I'm going to do some personal notes. That is something I'm going to start doing a little more on this podcast. I'm scared to do, but I am still a comedian. So I realized from 2023 that in stand-up, I have been doing the work. It's that the accomplishments haven't shown themselves. I think that what work I've been doing is not, say, the same as, you know, what other people have been doing, but the work finds itself a way of surfacing. I've been chipping away. And that's what Mars in Capricorn is saying. You know, where have you been taking this step by step by step? It doesn't have to go by somebody else's rule book. And in fact, because the North Node is ruled by Mars, and with the influence of Mars in Capricorn, this is saying fuck you to the old rule book. And this is okay, I have to go on a tangent. Hold on. Okay, so I love Leanne Morgan. She is one of my, I love her as a comedian. She's a clean comic, love her so much because she's like a Southern storyteller. But one of her videos surfaced on, trending on, YouTube or whatever, or Insta. And she was talking about being obsessed with the show Quarterbacks on Netflix. And so the other day I was just trying to rest, and I just got Netflix for the first time in a couple of years. And I was I love documentaries and docuseries. So I was Travis Kelce's kind of hot, and I think he's in this documentary. So and I love Taylor Swift. So let me watch this Quarterbacks docuseries. And I watched the first episode, and I, over 2 days, watched the whole docuseries. And I was just looking at it from an astrological standpoint, because I was just okay, I know that all these games happened, and these guys have moved to different teams. Some of these guys have moved to different teams. But, can we just shout out Leanne Morgan's joke about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Because I've been laughing about it for a couple of days, because it's so funny. And she's I'm gonna not do it justice, but she's she understands Taylor Swift's I don't know, feelings for Travis Kelce, because she's she wants to have a baby, and she's she loves that big Kelce boy. I don't know how she put it, but it's so fucking funny. And I've just been thinking about that for a couple of days, because I'm that's so fucking funny. But looking at the docuseries and watching the dudes, the quarterback dudes, and thinking about how this is applicable to Mars and Saturn, and how this one guy, what was his name? I don't know any of these guys' names. I'm really bad at the sports, but hold on, let me Google quarterback. I know he's okay, Patrick Mahomes. So I'm thinking about his astrology, right? And I'm oh my god, he's such a depiction of Mars. He's, and let's see, is his birthday listed? Okay, so he's a Virgo. But he hurts his ankle, and I'm oh my god, this is such a Mercury retrograde story. And then he still plays in the game, and they wrap his ankle up, and he hurts his ankle, and it's a high I don't know if it's a fracture or a sprain, but it's high up on his ankle, and he still wants to play. And I'm watching him, and he's getting really mad, and I'm oh my god, this is such a healthy display of Mars energy, because he's so mad. But the reason why he's mad is he wants to go for the team, and he wants to lead the team, and he wants to be a leader. And I was oh my god, he's a dedicated leader. I was this is Mars in Capricorn. This is North Node Aries. This is exactly what, somebody going to battle, and here's the chief, and he just wants to lead his group, and he just wants to do his best, and he doesn't care if he's injured, he keeps going. And so I really want to say, for the girlies out there listening, if you want to watch cute guys literally live the depiction of Mars and Saturn and really positive astrology, watch Quarterbacks, because the guys are super cute. I think all three, I don't like white dudes, and the guy from the purple team, the Vikings, I don't really think he's cute, but I can definitely understand. He's a type. But the Patrick Mahomes and then the other guy that got traded to the Eagles, super cute, like adorable. And so when I saw Leanne Morgan's bit, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. And then I watched the whole thing, and I was like, I have crushes on two of these guys. So this is just me on a tangent about how football is kind of astrological as well. So, okay, tangent done. Mars is entering Capricorn on the 4th. And then not a lot of transits or aspects this week, but also on January 6th, the sun is square to Chiron. So the sun in Capricorn at 15 degrees is square. I worked up a little heat there. I think it's like looking at a picture of Patrick Mahomes. He is really cute. Okay, the sun is square Chiron, and Chiron has been direct since last week. So the sun square Chiron is... The thing is, I like a cardinal square. I think it gives us character. I think it makes us have to work 10 times harder, especially with Mars and Capricorn. It's going to feel like, why do I have to take the boulder up the hill 1,000 times and watch it fall? And I think that's what it is. It's resistance training. Like it's muscular, because with Mars in Capricorn, it's already like musculoskeletal system. But with the square to Chiron, this whole year is going to look at this, mind-body training, the long game. So look at January as a time to be like, okay, I'm being given a shot to look at the long game, take my time, not jump into the deep end of the pool quite yet. Not quite yet. Mercury wants to go off to the races. That's your mind. Mental training. 3 months, and I'm doing this myself. By the way, I am doing this. I'm looking at the astrology. I know what's happening. I also have to live it. 3 months of mental training. Slow by slow by slow. So I hope this helps. I know this podcast went on a tangent. I want to shout out to Leanne Morgan, who will never listen to this. But I just want to say that bit led me to watch that docuseries that led me to look at how this kind of reflects into astrology. So happy 2024. Welcome to a new year. Fucking crush it. Fucking crush the shit out this shit, okay? And just know I'm out here day by day by day. You can find me. Hey, you know what? I'm still listing under stand-up comedy because there's no other astrology podcast where people just go on tangents about fucking docuseries about football. So, all right. I'm on social media, Trust Your Glitter, Christy Belich. You can find me, Linktree/TrustYourGlitter. All readings are listed there. You can book with me online at Linktree, and I wish you the most amazing 2024 ahead.